Hey, welcome back to Tactics Talk with Guido. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate your support in all the forms that it comes. I am here on Proc in my 1357F Tier 7 French Premium Scout. I am in a 510, so bottom tier, but only one tier down, and with the recent changes to Scouts making them much more damage dealers, this is not a bad setup, even for a 1357 with the little pew-pew gun going on. I like to feature Scouts on my replays quite a bit, or on my channel, for a couple reasons. Number one, I like them quite a bit. Scouts are very, very fun to play. They're a challenge. That's a good part as well. But I think the other thing about Scouts, the reason I like to show them on the channel, is if you can learn to play a Scout well, you can play any tank in the game well. Because you have really got to pay attention to your hit points. You really have to pay attention to your positioning. You have to pay attention to being overextended, to risk management, all of the things that you've got to do to keep a little tank with not a lot of hit points alive. In addition to that, with the way Scouts are now, is you've got to learn how to be effective in this little tank. So Scouts have to pull their weight. Plus, the other thing, I think one of the biggest things with the Scout is if you play the Scouts a lot, you start to learn the vision control game. And while some maps, or maybe some would argue most maps at this point, don't have a whole lot to do with vision control, when you get to the end game on nearly any map, and especially on a map like this, vision control or vision games, or understanding how the camo system or spotting system, draw system, all that stuff works, is critically important to increasing your effectiveness when there are fewer guns and fewer tanks on the table. So I'm going to come up here. This is a pretty good example of an active Scout game, so I haven't really talked about this particular match yet. I take a couple really ill-advised shots there. I'm probably not going to pen a 4502 from that range over here, at least not being able to aim at his weak spots. In any event, though, let's talk about Proc. I've gone up to the hill. When I take a look at the setup, they have some tier 8s in there, and I'm going to go up to this hill because I'm looking at this going, all right, they don't have a whole lot that can beat me up here. Maybe the 12T, potentially the object, depending on where he spawned, could get here pretty quickly. Maybe the Leo or the T71DA. I've also got to worry about artillery, so if I get spotted, I can get splashed pretty easily. Artillery will probably be presumed up here or on the 5-6 line are the two most likely spots for them to be looking early in the game. My intention, though, as I come up here, is to get up into this bush right here and to see what is coming. And because I think I'm probably going to be the first one here or very close to it, and that's exactly what happens, I'm going to just pull up into this bush and kind of watch. But I've got to pay attention if they come right up to me. I'm looking for cheap early shots there. That's just a little over-aggression, to be quite honest. I could have sat there for a while and maybe brought down some artillery on those guys. Looked like somebody hit the 12T and some guys are hitting the rest of them. And what I'm looking to do here is light all these guys up who are hanging on the back edge of this hill, so that my guys on the 5-6 line have shots at them, or the artillery has shots at them. My concern is that the T-29 will just come trundling up here and get close enough to either see me or proxy spot me, getting in within 50 meters. So I'm watching him pretty closely. I'm also looking for shots down on the red side's 5-6 line if I can. I'd also like to pick up any artillery or TDs in the back that are being foolish, but I'm probably not going to see those. And here comes the T-29, so that's what I was concerned with right there. As soon as I started moving, he sees me. This little spot here, this low spot, is where you want to be. Let's talk about that for just a second. Is where you want to be if you're working this bush and backing up. See how it dips down right here, and you can tell that it covers me pretty well from the enemy shooting at me on the 5-6 line. If you have a big tall tank, you're going to have a little bit more trouble hiding in here. The flat Russian mediums are great ones for doing this. Kind of pop up here, spot, and come back. This guy is in the exact wrong position. See how high up on the hill he is? He's not down in this depression. He's going to start taking aggro from everyone and their mother who is sitting down here. Now, I've decided to kind of work a little actively on this, and I got this 12T coming through. I'm going to come down here and make sure that me and this KV-3 can get rid of this guy. I come down a little fast. I'm glad I didn't track myself. And he goes down, which is fine. And I came off knowing that I could swing back around and get back up the hill if I needed to. But as I'm watching what's happening and the way this is developing, I can tell that we've got a bit of an issue over on the 1-2 line. I get spotted by the T-43 potentially right there. And then not map aware. Did not know I could not get up that spot. Maybe a little to the right, I'd have made it fine. And now I'm going to come around here, deciding whether to swing back up on the hill or go over to the 1-2 line or towards the middle of the map. And I decided to move to the middle of the map because we got plenty of guys up on the hill kind of camping there, and the enemy's not showing any real intention of popping up and over. So I'm going to head off this way, being a little bit more active, and I'm going to come over here, and I feel like we really need to go track down their scout who's working over on the 1-2 line if we can, and keep the guys honest who are pushing into our 34B, AT-7, and Challenger. Cruising through the middle here, one thing to remember with the light tanks and the way artillery is now, you do need to do some zigging and zagging and try to be as unpredictable as possible. With the splash distance on artillery, they can really make a scout's life miserable right here. And then when you're going to ridge surf like this, just bring the very top of your tank over, just the turret peeking over to take a look. The 1357 is pretty good at it, but all of the French lights have a problem with turning, as far as they do not turn very sharply, so they've got kind of the turn radius of a boat here, the Titanic, compared to some of the other lights. So you do have to pay attention to that and time that. When you come up to the ridge, you've got to start turning early so you don't get up and on top of the ridge and you start turning and then you're just completely exposed. The other trick is if you get on the ridge and someone sees you, you see the light bulb go off, just stay down below for a little while, because if you're still lit, you just come down below the ridge, you're still lit, and you pop back up. That gives people time to get some lead fire on you and take some shots. So I'm going to come back over here. Looks like they're getting a little too high on the hill and exposing themselves, so we'll come over here and see if I can't get a free kill. He's doing a good job putting his turret towards me, and down he goes. And you'll notice in between all of this, because I'm running an auto loader, I'll force a reload when I've got 3 or 4 shells and I know I'm not about to engage somebody immediately. The reload on this is actually pretty fast, so I don't have to worry about that too much. So we've cleared out their 5-6 line. That gives us a few options. They have quite a stack over on the 1-2, and the hill's doing just fine. We lost one of our guys over on the 1-2 line though, so now I want to try to get some targets for this Challenger and potentially the 34B to take shots on. The T-29, the Super Pershing, the other scout are all kind of working the 5-6, so now I'm just looking for an opportunity. Pretty quickly here, I'm going to switch from being an active scout into more of a hunter-killer role where I'm looking for shots or looking to create shots for myself as opposed to just looking to create shots for the team. And now I'm just looking for that opportunity at some point. If I can find an isolated tank or a tank maybe like that I can get shots on, but it looks like he drops down onto the other side, so I can't quite do that. Just opportunities is what I'm looking for to kill guys. Now what I see happening is over on the 9-0 line, it looks like we're getting a bit of an overmatch going on based on what's left and where the tanks are lit that I know of. So I'm just going to pop up and over this. The 5-6 line was clear except that the 4202 came back over, so I get by there. Now let's take out this T-43, which I have a bit of trouble penning here. / hitting. There's one into him, so he's in big trouble. Oh, come on, gun. Gun and aiming. Hey, how about it? Oh, this will be the kill, right? No. How about this one? Nope. Maybe this one? There's one of them. He's making a run for it. Bad shot. Oh, no, I did hit him, but didn't do any damage. And he's still running. We got an object down on the flats down there. The 4202 is still trolling around on that center spot right there. And one thing I'm pretty sure of, as I'm moving in here, I'm pretty sure there's not any TDs here or here. And if there is, it's maybe one. Why? Because these guys have been popping up and over. We've had this 43 out here in this flat. We've been all over the place highlighting ourselves to these guys, and I haven't really seen a bunch of wrecking going on. If these guys were just getting murdered, then I would suspect there was 2 or 3 guys back here. But right now, based on the crowd that's here, this guy and this guy, with what's left that's not spotted, it's maybe one TD and another tank. And if they're there, they're not very effective for doing anything. So I really feel like I have no problem pushing in on here. Wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with this object. 416 was trying to get in to his side unaware, but he was looking at me. Good news is, had him lit, and down he goes, the P Victoria from up on the hill. And that is one of those find a seam kind of moments. Using the SA on the map, active scout, knowing that it's probably a fairly low risk to push in, and you had all those snipers up on the hill, and they end up killing the guys that you're lighting. And now you're just the wolf in the backfield, right? I know there's 2 artillery. This is a great spot to pop up and over. You can get down in a little low area right here. Look at all the lights and guys that are over there. I knew I was going to find at least 1 artillery here, so this works out. I'll get down into the low spot. He just gets murdered. And now I'm like, all right, what about this AT? I'm like, this AT7, who I'm going to have all kinds of trouble pinning in the side, so I give up on that. I've already used my gold. I'm going to reload and think about it for a moment. Now, I don't want to go just raging into these guys, because I know there's the AT7 there, and there's a whole stack of guys, and maybe a couple more back in here. Plus the JP, the Jagdpanzer, the Jagdpanzer is over on my right behind the buildings. And those are all pieces of SA that you can gather, and I'm just uselessly shooting. To be quite honest, I'm not exactly sure why I kept shooting at this guy. There's a slight argument to be made for having things pinging off them and make them nervous, but that's probably not really a great idea. A couple times I thought I might be able to pin him into the back side, but this gun's going to have really a lot of trouble with an AT7. What I'm looking for is guys to set up a crossfire on him, which I haven't seen much of yet. And I thought he was actually moving away from me, but he's moving towards me. His gun's on the right, so see how it's poking off the right side of his tank? Now I'm just uselessly plinking off this guy. Then I thought, well, maybe I'll just track him. Maybe I can get some tracking damage off this guy. Hey, I did destroy his track. There you go. So I got a little assist damage there finally. Pull through here, see the JP, reloading. This is something people don't do enough of, is take down buildings. I'm like, alright, let's just knock this building. I tried to get in there, couldn't quite get to him. Ah, stupid building's taking a long time. There we go. Looks like the artillery put a shot in there and knocked the rest of it down. And down he goes. So just looking, this is that just assassination time period towards the end of the game on the cleanup where a scout really excels. The good news is you're forward, so you're getting some shots on guys, plus you're the one lighting guys, so you're picking up the spotting damage as well, and that is all experience. It's all experience. Carefully aggressive is what I say in this game, and the more carefully aggressive you are, the more XP you get, the longer you live, the more XP you get and damage you get. And guess what? The faster your grinds go, or the more money you have, so the more gold you can spam. That's just as one example. Bad decisions shooting this guy where I was shooting him. Should have just gone around to the side before I shot two in his face. Really just prayer shots on that gun. Some of my gunnery in this game is not fantastic. And it's, it's one of those things, you don't always bring together the best game. You're just trying to do the best you can in a game, and sometimes some of it's good, sometimes some of it's not. This was not so good. I had a hard time getting my auto aim to work, so finally just accepted that it's on the low and that I got friends. Then I switched to him and finally got a shot on him, and holy cow, what's going on? I don't know. That could have been done a lot better. If I had that one to do better, to do again and then better, I would have focused down the T-71 first, then went to the low and got on out of there. But you know what? You can't have everything, can you? Give it the best college try you can. And you debrief to it, right? I should have come over. I should have focused down the T-71 with better auto aim usage and then moved on to the low and not shot the low in the face. So there you have it. All right, guys. So there's an example of scouting on what is admittedly a good scout map. Can you do that exact thing on, say, Pilsen or one of these more constrained maps? No, you can't, but the concepts still apply. And towards the end game, on nearly any map, I say nearly, not all, but on nearly any map, there are opportunities to use bushes and draw range and spotting range to outspot guys, maybe get them killed without endangering yourself or risking your own tank too much. And you learn that by playing scouts, and one of the best places to learn it is on a map like this. Then you can start necking it down into the more dangerous corridor maps, where admittedly it is definitely harder. All right, guys, hope you liked what you saw. Hope you learned something in there. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Keep the replays coming. Keep the questions coming. And as always, we will see you.